The Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We have a very special guest joining the show, Micromike, Lions Talk by Chat Sports, the legend. Mike, welcome to the show. I know you're fired up just as much as we are, but I just want your feeling on this Friday. It's a playoff game on Sunday. Matthew Stafford. How you feeling this morning, Mike?
Feeling really anxious and good at the same time. Super excited for the game on Sunday. And I cannot wait to see this team play in prime time Sunday Night Football and beat the Matthew Stafford-led Rams. That'd just be absolutely glorious. So, hurry up Sunday night.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the same ballpark as you. I want to ask you just some of the problems this Rams team can pose. You look at their defensive line, rookies are producing. You got Kobe Turner, Byron Young, two guys that have combined for 17 sacks as rookies for the Rams. What's the matchup to you, the Lions offense versus Rams defense? Because to me, Mike, this game could easily be a shootout. I think both defenses are going to struggle to stop the opposing offense. But what's your kind of perspective on the matchup there for the Lions?
It always stems for the Detroit Lions offensive line. Can they hold back the Rams? I mean, this is why we drafted Penei Sewell. This is why we got Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker and everybody else, is for big games like this. Aaron Donald, he's going to be in there trying to wreak some havoc for the Rams, getting to Jared Goff. They know Jared Goff very well. If you can rattle him, they can get to him. So that's the matchup that I'm looking at from an offensive line standpoint. And for the Detroit Lions defensive line, it's the same thing. We know we can rattle Stafford. We got to get the blitz. We got to get home.
Mike, I want to go to the run game because obviously Kyren Williams of the Rams is having a great year. Are there any concerns with him if you're the Detroit Lions, or is it going to be as simple as the Lions have stopped the run every game, they're just going to do it again?
I'm hoping so that what you just said there, that the Lions been stopping everybody, that they can stop again. That's what I want to see. It was a little bit of hiccup last week, but at the same time, John Kaminsky wasn't in there, so maybe that's an effect. We know the Kaminsky effect. But I think the Detroit Lions are the second best run defense in the NFL, and I think that they're going to continue to do that in this game. It's stop the run, force the team to pass. We've been seeing it forever now, and Nick Mullins put 400 yards twice, basically, and that's the philosophy I feel like Aaron Glenn is doing right now. We're going to stop the run, force you to be one-dimensional, and hopefully we can get a couple picks in here. So I do think the Lions can focus on stopping Williams.
Now, for Jared Goff, and I know all week you've heard the Stafford this, the Stafford that. You're not allowed to wear Stafford jerseys in the stadium, which should just be obvious, Mike, in my opinion. I don't think it should be clarified. Just don't wear it. Damn Stafford jersey, wear a Jameson Williams jersey. But what's your thoughts on the game for Jared? Because he's quiet about it. He spoke a little bit about his relationship now with Sean McVay, and obviously he's motivated to take on his former team, the one that gave up on him. But how big of a game is this for Jared? Because for me, Mike, I don't. It's not about a stat line for me. I'm not expecting 300 yards, 3 TD. I don't give a damn. He could be 16 of 21 for 200 yards and a TD, Mike, and I would be fine with it. I think for Jared, the number one thing for me is no turnovers, play clean. But where are you at with Jared Goff on Sunday? How big of a game is this for him to kind of cement himself as the franchise quarterback with an extension kind of looming?
Simple solution first about the Stafford jersey. Just take duct tape and put Williams in the very back.
There you go.
Saved you a lot of money, folks, and you can still represent our Detroit Lions there for sure. When it comes to Jared Goff, I don't care about the stat line in this game. The reason we brought Jared Goff in here is he is a winner. I remember when Dan Campbell brought him and he said he wins. All he does is win. In big games like this, look, the stats could suck throughout the whole game, but if you get that critical fourth down like we've seen on multiple times, Kansas City, seen it Green Bay last year, you do that and win the game, I'm going to be happy. So be calm in the most critical moments in this game. You understand you've been to a big game, you've been to the Super Bowl. Just relax down, distribute the football. We should be good to go offensively, and Jared Goff should get a win over his former team.
Speaking of calm in critical moments, one of the things that both of these teams have in common is that their rookie classes have been excellent, and some of their biggest contributors on both teams have been rookies. I don't think either team is quite where they are without the contributions of rookies. Which team's rookies will outperform the other? Will it be the Lions or the Rams?
Oh, what a good question right there. You look at Puka Nacua, he's having a phenomenal year right now. Their defensive line, Smith, they're all having a good line over there for the Rams. And so for the Detroit Lions, got to get our guys here Is there a problem going on?
Oh, no, we're good.
Okay. So for our guys here, look, I think if Laporta plays, Brian Branch does his thing, I think the Lions rookies really excelled this team to the next level. And I would take the Lions rookies because I am biased as well.
Yeah, Mike, I don't think I pray to the man in the city that picks the Rams. I just don't see it. You know, a lot of national medias pick the Rams. I see Mike Florio, Chris Sims, NFL Network's picking the Rams. It just feels like, hey, it's the Rams, the Lions. Same old Lions are going to lose this football game. For me, the X factor of this game on offense, and I mentioned it's Jameson Williams. I think Jameson, with how he's been playing to end the season, I know he missed the last game with an ankle injury, but for Jameson, he could be the difference. You know, this Rams defense, Raheem Morris is looking at St. Brown like, hey, we got to limit him. He's what makes this thing go on offense, especially if there's no Sam Laporta. Where are you at with Jameson, and how much of an impact could he have if, hey, he comes out and has a big game? Because Mike, he's had some of his bigger games in his career at the collegiate level in the college football playoffs. So big stage, J-Mill showed up.
Yeah, and look, Jameson Williams is being used on multiple facets. It's not just go route anymore. It's also taking slants, getting first downs, hard catches for maybe 11 yards. So even if it's not one of those gigantic plays, those touchdown plays, the play action, 40-yard bomb, if he gets crucial third downs or big plays of 15-plus yards that the drive continues, that is his importance to this team. He gets open and catches the football for getting first downs. Look, I love those big bombs, but in a game like this, you need to have long, sustained drives. I'd love to keep Stafford on the sideline, and I think that's how you can use Jameson Williams as well.
Mike, I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball. Do you expect, I know he's had a lot of great games over the past 2 years, but the playoffs is different. Do you expect a legacy-type game from Aiden Hutchinson?
Oh, man. Look, I call him Aiden Clutchinson for a reason. I don't know about a legacy game, but I expect him to make at least one big clutch sack in this game. We've seen it with Justin Fields, right? The sack, fumble out of the end zone. See a situation where maybe it's the last drive. Stafford's got the football. You got to sack the quarterback to get the clock to keep moving, losing yards in that last drive. And I can see Aiden Clutchinson getting that sack and helping the Lions to a victory.
And I want to ask, too, how much of an impact does a guy like a C.J. Gardner-Johnson make because of his playoff experience? He's played in a ton of playoff games. He's played in a Super Bowl. Where are you at with that? To me, at least, and I would assume, Mike, because me and you are in lockstep for a lot of things, that I'm not too concerned with the lack of experience. This team has shown up in primetime games. And I made the case yesterday that people don't think about this, but the Rams' average age on the roster, Lions are actually a little bit older. So people assume that this Rams team is the same team that went to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of young players on the Rams. So the whole inexperience thing, Mike, I don't think it'll be as much of a factor as people think it will be.
Just a couple questions ago, I was asked about the rookies impacting for the Rams compared to the Detroit Lions. They're a young team as well. I understand Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl, but Jared Goff also went to a Super Bowl. He's been in multiple playoff games. Dan Campbell is part of the New Orleans Saints, so he's had that experience. There's experience here like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think it's invaluable when you have a guy like that who can at least communicate, calm the players down in the secondary that he's with. That's very important. You see yesterday how he's interviewing. He's like, we haven't won anything. We need to get more banners. This is something that we got to do. So he can calm these players down and elevate their game because it needs to be higher for the playoffs. Need to intensify. But I think he is a good, cool, calm, collective head for these young guys to not go too off, good or bad, for the game on Sunday night.
And I made this case early in the season. It was really after the Kansas City game when they were coming back to Ford Field to face Seattle. And my argument was, I think Ford Field, although there hasn't been success at Ford Field yet, could rival the best home field advantage in the NFL. And my reasons for that was because of how starved this fan base was. Like, that matters. Like, yes, winning helps when you're in an organization that wins a lot. Obviously, fans are going to show up. But, Mike, this is standing room only. Like this, I don't think people outside of Detroit understand what kind of advantage Ford Field's going to be on Sunday. I think it'll be the loudest it's ever been in the history since Ford Field was built back in, 2002. What are your thoughts on just the environment the Rams are walking into? Because I think we're going to see some false start penalties. I do.
Oh man, they're walking into a disaster full of axes and saws because it's going to be crazy at Ford Field on Sunday night. Look, if you've been to Ford Field, you know it gets really loud. Now imagine it not having a playoff game ever at Ford Field after 30 years. Everyone in there is going to explode their vocal cords. Ears are going to be popping. It's going to be glorious. I don't even know if Stafford knows what he's walking into, and he was here 12 years. This is going to be crazy, crazy loud. It's going to be a fun environment. If you got little kids, get some earmuffs.
And just to ask you to close it off here, and I know you'll be doing content about the game itself, and you have been. You'll give out your game predictions, but I want to ask you, how do you see the game playing out? And if you don't want to give it away, that's fine, but give me a score prediction for you, Mike, for this weekend.
Got the Lions getting a win here, 33-30. I think the Lions win the game. With that said, when I say 33-30, I mean that maybe Stafford and them get a late touchdown to make it look a little bit closer. I just think all the momentum, all the anger is on Detroit's side, and I love that the media keeps putting the Lions down. I feel like they're going to get a little bit of spice in that game on Sunday night because everybody keeps doubting Detroit.
Yeah, no question. Thanks, Mike, for joining the show. Hopefully we can talk to you again, and it'll be celebrating a playoff win. You could find Mike. Yes. If you don't know who he is, you might be living under a rock. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. Find him on YouTube. Appreciate you, Mike. Take care, man.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, rocks are good too, man. Take it easy.